My name is Maranski. I have been an activist for a long time. Currently, I am working with an Indivisible group called Solidarity Warriors. We are a national and local Colorado Indivisible group. We have a weekly Zoom meeting that brings people from all over the country. And what we're basically doing is trying to movement build and teach people the skills that they can go out and make the change that they want to see in the country.
I was asking you about what does movement building look like for Solidarity Warriors right now?
So what movement building is to me is bringing people together with shared goals to produce a political change. And it brings people from all over the political spectrum, all over the country, socioeconomically, ethnically, religiously. It is about bringing people together to make a better world.
Okay. And on the ground, practically, what does it look like?
So practically, we do two things. First of all, we have a weekly Zoom meeting that has a national reach. So we get people from all over the country, and we are teaching them the skills that they need. And teaching things that other people aren't saying out there and doing out there, and approaches different. When you take that a step further, we go out into the community. We plan events. We've been deeply involved in the protests in Colorado, but we have also been planning things like social events, connection events, connecting people together. We've got a barbecue later on this afternoon that we're going to be doing. So it's kind of meeting the needs of what's out there in the way that there's a vacuum. So we're trying to go and fill that in.
So is that sufficient for right now? Is what you've been doing sufficient, or is there more need to be done?
So the short version is no.
Okay.
It's not sufficient.
Okay.
Because there is so much that needs to happen so quickly. However, from a practical point of view, the movement needs to be the first thing that gets built. Once the movement is built, then you can start putting pressure, setting goals, making demands, and expectations that things are going to change. Without the movement, none of that can happen. At the same time, we are in a crisis environment. So while this long-term movement building needs to be happening, there also needs to be immediate response to crisis. And this regime is deliberately creating one crisis after another to overwhelm the opposition so that they can't respond. And you need to have the perspective that you're not going to be able to respond to anything, and that this administration is going to continue with the policies that hurt people and be able to fight and work around it at the same time.
What does a built movement look like?
That is something that the movement doesn't include. And that's where it can get complicated, because if everybody doesn't agree on what we're doing, what our goals are, where we're going, it makes it complicated to keep everybody together and moving in the same direction. To me, a built movement is one that has an organization and a structure, but at the same time, this movement is very decentralized. So there is no top-down structure saying this is what we're going to do, which has advantages in being able to, one, allow people to go out and do things without permission, and it makes it harder for persecution of leaders. So you can't cut the head off and have a movement forward. I firmly believe if Donald Trump is not president, the Republican Party is in a very different place, and the MAGA movement falls apart.
So what are the main hurdles getting to a built movement from where you're at now?
For me, there are three main things that are missing.
Okay.
The first is there are a lot of apathetic and disengaged people.
Right.
not just young people, but older people as well.
Uh-huh.
And we need to bring those people in at the place that they're at.
Okay.
So, the Democratic Party has for a long time been chasing the right as they've been moving to the right. That has left a lot of people behind, and we need to reach out to those people and bring them in. One of the things I have been preaching is mutual aid. If we are going to go forward with a movement, we need the people who are losing their Social Security, the people who are losing their housing, the people who are food insecure, and make sure that they get taken care of. And if we do that, they will come into our movement. One of the hurdles is structural. There is no organization, there is no framework for people to work under, and people don't know necessarily what they're getting into if there isn't a good and clear definition of goals and what you stand for. The final hurdle towards movement building is infighting and structural splintering on the left. And one of the things as solidarity warriors that we have been preaching is unity and solidarity. And we have done events that were controversial and upset some people to demonstrate the point that you can be united and be in a coalition with people that you don't completely agree with and teach people that that's okay.
Okay.
As long as you're working towards the same goals.
And I assume today you're here to continue to try to build the movement, but what are some of your specific goals here today?
One of my specific goals being here is learning how to engage with young people. And the presentation we just saw goes back to Ronald Reagan and George Bush. I remember those administrations. I remember Bill Clinton. My biggest complaint with Bill Clinton is he was too far to the right. And now I see young people being completely different than from when I was young.
Okay.
When I was young, people were disaffected and apathetic, but generally people had learned a liberal lean when they were young. I see young people now as being completely detached from the left and the right. They don't watch regular media news outlets. People don't watch the news anymore. They don't read the newspaper. So they're getting news from YouTube and TikTok and podcasters, which don't have the journalistic integrity that they need a lot of times. And that's where I'm looking to engage because that is a huge untapped resource for the movement.